Witkoff and senior military leadership, including U.S. Central Command, following the first Iranian missile strike. The officials reportedly sought clarity on whether the United States had prior knowledge of the Israeli strike that triggered the escalation. This comes after Iran launched retaliatory missile strikes in the region, including strikes targeting energy infrastructure in Qatar, raising fears of a wider regional conflict. Apart from this, we also, in fact, have another input coming in that in a diplomatic escalation, Iran's ambassador to the United Nations, Amir Saeed Irawani, has written a formal letter to UN Secretary General demanding compensation from the United Arab Emirates. The Iranian envoy accuses the UAE of complicity in alleged US military attacks on Iranian territories and interests, claiming Abu Dhabi provided support, facilities or assistance that enabled the operations. According to the letter cited by Iranian state media, Tehran views the UAE's action as a violation of international law and its obligations under the UN Charter, holding it legally and financially accountable for the damages suffered by Iran. If I can bring in Major Shah on this, Major Shah, obviously, let's talk about the two things that we have introduced to our viewers. Firstly, Qatar has, in fact, according to reports, reached out to the US if they were aware that Iran was going to be targeted by Israel. And this is something that obviously now everybody knows about, because there were a few European nations who came out and said that they were aware that such an operation would take place. Apart from that, let's also talk about how Iran is pursuing all the options that are available in front of it, including the UN. So Iran has always maintained, sir, that it has been someone that has not developed a nuclear, powered, if we can call it, warhead. And that is because it wants to be accepted by the world and it wants to be figured in talks at the global level. When we are talking about the UN, Iran has now approached the UN. It has said that it wants compensation from the UAE. It's striking the UAE as well, and UAE also seems to be the hardest hit, Major, in this crisis.
Is that's very well said by you. The thing is, first, Das Gupta, I think she gave a wonderful analysis. Now, about the very fact that Iran is not going to stop. And if you are saying Iran's approach UN, well, if it's going to be America ultimately, that's the only option they would be having. That when they will come to India and request our Prime Minister for a ceasefire, to call for a ceasefire. America, I will say something very, very interesting. America, Donald Trump has taken this major decision that he would be sending the Navy SEALs to take control of on the Karg Island. Now, if Donald Trump sends boots on ground, that will be the biggest blunder, biggest mistake of America. They are going to buy casualties and heavy casualties. As a military man, I can tell you strategically, the geographical location of Iran is such, it's like a bowl. It's surrounded by mountains, rugged mountains and peaks. It's not Iraq, where in 2003, in 3 weeks, they invaded Iraq. But Iran, they will not be successful when they do boots on ground. To divert the attention, something very more interesting has come up. In fact, this connection is shaking. Something very interesting came up. Now
unfortunately, Major Shah, there seems to be a problem with your connection. We are unable to hear you. Till the time that you fix your connection, we'll introduce another piece of information coming in. In a developing security incident in Kuwait, the Kuwait Petroleum Corporation has confirmed that one of the operational units at the Mina Al Ahmadi refinery was targeted by a drone on Thursday. The attack resulted in a limited fire at the facility, one of the country's largest and most critical oil refineries. KPC, citing the official Kuwait news agency Kuna, stated that the blaze was brought under control swiftly by refinery firefighting teams, with no immediate reports of casualties or major structural damage. Details on the origin of the drone or the group responsible remain unconfirmed at this stage, and authorities have yet to release further information on the nature or motive of the attack. Let me bring in Shruti Dasgupta into this. Shruti, in your earlier monologue as well, you were talking about this global energy crisis. We are seeing refineries being hit. We are seeing production units being hit. Obviously, even if the countries right now have a stable source for the next 20 to 25 days, these refineries, these production units have been hit. Obviously, reviving these will take some more time, more than a month, say for example 2 months, if you talk about oil or gas production as well. So for a limited period, even if the war stops for a limited period, the world will in fact witness an energy crisis.
You're absolutely right there. That's exactly what I've been hinting at, that this is not a temporary issue. This is something that is going to not go away the minute a ceasefire is called. It is going to impact the next couple of years because they spent billions on those infrastructures being made. It is not just about tapping into whatever is available into the heart of the earth and pulling it out. The transportation facilities have been hit, the loading facilities have been hit, the refineries have been hit. This causes a large scale damage. Years will go by before we are ever able to come back to it. The first retaliations between the Ras Laffan and the South Pars, they tap into the same pocket of LNG. So they're doing this, they're pulling out the same thing, and that's only 10% used, and the attack on both of these will now ensure that 90% of whatever is left of that LNG gas available for humans to use is not going to be available for many years to come. So the energy shock is not just till the days that the wars is fought. Unfortunately for all of humanity, the energy shock is going to be massive. It's going to push what began in the 20th century as the modern era of using petroleum and crude oil products. It's going to push all of that back a whole lot. All the economies are going to be impacted. When we speak of a reset in world order, this is exactly what we mean, because now everybody's position on the economic ladder is going to be judged by how much access you have to fuel. Everybody's production capability, manufacturing access, the entire human world, which depends right from pharmaceuticals to your makeup to your engines that are running your trains, your fuels, your jet, your mobility, your transportation hubs, everything is going to be impacted. So a world order change is going to come, and whether you have built the required diplomatic networks, the required trade networks and goodwill around the world is what is going to change who stands on top of that world. Those who have access to this from their own land are obviously going to be there right on top of that ladder, and those who have been able to make friendly gestures to these people are the ones who are going to stand next. And I do not know where Israel or Iran or Trump is going to be in this entire list of people who are able to tap into the power sectors anymore, but they will definitely not be there anywhere near the top. That much I can assure you. No matter whether USA wins this excursion, I believe they're now calling it, whether USA wins this excursion or not, whether Israel wins this excursion or not, they are already up to their necks in debt, and that is not going to go away anytime soon. So in the entire world economy is going to shake, and the ripples are going to be heard and felt for years, at least 5, if by my estimates.
Absolutely, a 3-week long excursion, if I may call it so. But thank you so much, Shruti Dasgupta and Major Shah, for joining us on this broadcast. Always a pleasure to have you both. With that, we are wrapping up this bulletin and slipping into a short commercial.